shift to that rebuilding. It's going to be a massive undertaking that requires billions of dollars if there's ever a rush for the U.S. to move quickly. One of the country's foes seems to be watching from the sidelines, ready to lend a major hand. Here to explain why the Bahamas is now in the middle of the U.S.-China trade war and how it matters to us here in South Florida is Tom Essaye, president of Sevens Research. Tom, why is rebuilding the Bahamas so important, first off?
Well, it's really three reasons. First, there's a humanitarian responsibility, right? I mean, there's incredible pain and suffering, just off our shores, and we have a responsibility to try and alleviate that. Second, locally, economically, right, we have a cruise ship that sails to the northern Bahamas. If we don't help rebuild it, then guess what? That's not going to continue. And then finally, geopolitically. Oddly enough, China has been very active investing in the Bahamas. They are going to need billions to rebuild, and if we're not going to do it, it's a pretty safe bet the Chinese are going to be there with their checkbook open.
And that will definitely shut us out of a lot of our economy here locally, like you mentioned. Well, what about China's involvement is so worrisome then? You touched on it a little bit. What do you see the outcome being?
Sure. So already China has actually invested in the Bahamas right next to our shores. In the Abacos, the Bahamian government paid the Chinese $40 million to rebuild a port. We don't know why, right, other than it's just sort of a general business venture. But for instance, Huawei, which is the Chinese equivalent of, say, AT&T or Verizon, the federal government is concerned that they have the ability to perform surveillance, and we want that just off our shores. We wouldn't allow the Chinese to build a port in Jacksonville, right? Perhaps we should be aggressive about maybe preventing them from doing that somewhere that's closer than Jacksonville.
Right. In terms of price tags, are we talking hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars to get the Bahamas back on its feet?
To get back to where we were, we're probably talking about billions of dollars, and it doesn't have to be spent all at once, but it's a large price tag, certainly for a nation like the Bahamas, which doesn't have, the strongest economy. But for a country like ours, or for a country like China, that's really not that big of a price tag when you consider the sort of peripheral benefits we'll get from it.
Okay, luckily it seems like the help is there preliminarily right now. And here locally too, tell us about a fundraiser going on this weekend that you're involved in.
Sure, so on Sunday at Patty Mac's in Palm Beach Gardens, Tropical Shipping is going to be dropping off pallets. They are going to be able to have people put goods on those pallets. They're going to ship them directly to the Bahamians. There's going to be a band. There's going to be Bahamian food. It's going to be a great time and a great opportunity to help the Bahamians directly. It's from 4 to 8, Patty Mac's in Palm Beach Gardens, PGA and military.
Doesn't hurt to help.
Yep.
Thank you, Tom.